Hey, this is Craig Ballantyne, and today you're going to understand the 5 ways to escape burnout as an entrepreneur and live your dream life. I went from having 2 anxiety attacks, going to the emergency room, to figuring things out that I'm going to share with you today, and now living the life of my dreams. I found the woman of my dreams. We have an amazing baby. We have an amazing business. We have an amazing life here in Cancun, Mexico, beautiful sunny place, living my dreams. But, there's a little known set of common causes that lead to burnout. And it's not what you think. It's not the long hours, and it's not a few other things that are really, really like people say, oh, if you work every single day, you're going to get burnt out. No, that's not actually the cause of burnout. There's 5 causes that I'm going to share with you today that you probably didn't even know cause burnout, but they're far more significant and serious than the fact that, you like to work a few hours every single day. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, I'm also going to give you the secret solutions of the 1%. The 1% of the people who have great businesses, who make great money, who have time for their families, who are in great shape, and basically who have it all. And you can join that group, that 1%. It doesn't take a rocket surgeon. I started out as a poor, broke, struggling farm boy who was a binge drinker, and I was able to achieve that. And I know that you will be too. All right. So it doesn't matter where you are coming from in life. This is something that is all within your control. So let's rock and roll. I just want you to understand again that burnout is not due to long hours. It's not due to working 7 days per week. And it's not even, just applicable to people that are only making 100K per year or less, like the people that haven't made the money that they want. Those are not the people that should or do suffer from burnout. Instead, it's going to be what I share with you in a moment. But let's talk about burnout for a second. If you feel anxious, if you feel exhausted, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like you are never able to finish your to-do list, that's where people start to feel burnout. And let's go back and look at how bad I was. I was burnt out as a struggling personal trainer. Now, I was in the best shape of my life. I was an absolute ripped men's health model, physical condition. I was training all the time. This is actually the picture of me with the long hair. That's actually a couple years before I had my anxiety attacks. But the one where I have the bag over my shoulder and I'm smiling there at the camera, that was like 2 or 3 months before I had my first anxiety attack. And it was because of the common causes I'm about to share with you in a second. It wasn't because I was working a lot. I was working a lot, but that wasn't the cause of it. I was in great shape, like I said. And things were starting to really go well in my business, but I had burnout for other reasons. Now, the definition of burnout, according to the interwebs, is that you have a loss of passion. Now, this is entrepreneurial burnout. You have a loss of passion for being an entrepreneur, and you're losing control, right? You're losing control. You're losing the autonomy that you feel you have, and you're ready to quit. So if you have any of those, including and all the other stuff I mentioned before, the anxiety, the overwhelm, okay, that is putting you on the cusp of burnout. But I know people that work 60, 70, 80, 90 hours per week, work 7 days per week, and you see them working all the time and think, oh man, that guy's going to burn out soon. And they're not even close. Like burnout doesn't even enter their dictionary, except for when they hear other people say it to them, because they love what they do. They love what they do. They are masters in the art of living. And you can't tell if they're working or they're playing. And there's a great quote that, I don't know who it's actually ascribed to, but that's what they say. The master in the art of living, you cannot tell if they are at work or at play. It's because they have so much passion for what they do. But on the flip side, the master of burnout has a lack of passion. And then that leads to the panic attacks, which I suffered. The adrenal fatigue, which a lot of other people suffer from. So I know a lot of naturopaths and chiropractors and osteopaths and alternative doctors that treat adrenal fatigue. And that is a common sign of burnout. And your health takes a hit. Maybe you get really overweight, or maybe you start taking up a bad habit like alcohol or smoking. And those often go with the burnout. Again, I suffered from this. I had the severe anxiety attack. So, technically I was burnt out, but I didn't lose the passion. I only had the physical side effects. And I had to fix a few things, but it wasn't changing the number of hours that I work. It wasn't changing the fact that I work a little bit every single day. In fact, it was something different. So how I escaped Burnout as an Entrepreneur. I'm not going to read my entire audiobook. It takes about 4 hours, but you can see people love it. 115 ratings on there, most of them 5-star and 4-star reviews. You can go and you can get it on Kindle for $1.18, or you can go and you can get the audiobook and ebook for free at craigballantyne.com/free books. Okay. If you're a paperback person like me, you can go to beunstoppablebook.com, or you can go and get the paperback on Amazon. Now, that will show you all of the tools in my toolbox that help me overcome burnout. But today, we're just going to talk about a few of them. And first, we're going to talk about the little known common causes. And again, it's not long work hours, but these little known common causes result in the increased anxiety and stress, the decreased motivation, and the quitting. And the first one is comparison syndrome. Comparison syndrome. So people get overwhelmed and burnt out when they're comparing their progress to somebody else, particularly somebody else who has been in the trenches for a decade longer than them. And I know that you've done this before. You see somebody on Instagram or some other social media and you go, man, my content's as good as them. And I wish I had the number of followers that they have. And man, why can't I get those results? And the answer is that they've been doing this for 10 years longer than you. And yet you're comparing your beginner results to their advanced results, their decades-long results. And when you make that false comparison, you end up with that comparison syndrome, and that leads you to negative emotions, which leads you to burnout, right? Because you can't get the results overnight. And so a lot of times what people describe as burnout is really just a frustration with their results, and you're not actually burnt out. It's just that you use some technique like watching television or drinking or wanting to go on a vacation to cope with the fact that you have improperly applied comparison syndrome to your situation. And we'll discuss some of the solutions in a bit, but just understand that you're probably not burnout. You've got energy, you've got health, you've got time. You're just focusing on the wrong things. You need to go and take that energy that you're putting into comparing yourself to others and get back to work. Action beats anxiety, as I say. The second thing is negative self-talk. A lot of the times in burnout, the people that snuff the oxygen from their own internal flame are themselves. And they talk about, oh, I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I'm horrible on video. I can never be on time. I'm bad at sales. And they say all of these things, which contribute to poor results in the business. And therefore, again, they ascribe poor results and negative self-talk to burnout. But again, you have the energy, you have the time, you have the direction. It's just that you are talking poorly to yourself, and that has to change. That has to change because listen, if you're of my age, you'll recognize this from Saturday Night Live skit, but you are smart enough, you're good enough, you're strong enough, you're beautiful enough, you have the expertise, you are good enough, as Stuart Smalley says. And so listen, you need to fix that self-talk because that's causing burnout in you. You are, again, suffocating your own flame. You're taking away all the oxygen in your mind and in your heart by talking negatively to yourself. The third thing that causes burnout is a lack of vision. If you don't know where you're going, if you don't know what matters to you, well, you end up really on the treadmill of life, chasing a whole bunch of things. And listen, anybody's going to be burnt out if they're running on the treadmill 24 hours a day. Even David Goggins is eventually going to get burnt out. Just like at the end of his book, he had to stop running and start stretching because his body was burnt out from running all the time. And when you have a lack of vision, it's the same sort of thing. You are just chasing things in different directions. You're being pulled off on detours, and that is very frustrating. But you have a very clear vision, like Grant Cardone has a very clear vision. My friend Tom Bilyeu had a very clear vision when building Quest Bar, and that allowed them to work insanely long hours. I remember Tom Bilyeu was talking about how his hands, when they first started making Quest Bars, and he sold Quest Bars for a ton of money, he would actually be having his hands in the dough and kneading it. And it's like, he said it was so cramped up when they were making their first bars, but it didn't stop him because his vision powered him through. And so if you have a hard time getting fired up, it's because you're not putting oxygen on the flame through the power of the vision. Not having a big why is another one, right? So I was talking to an entrepreneur this week, and he has 6-pack abs and he has a 7-figure business, and he's really lost his mojo, and he says he's burnt out. But I've reframed it and I said, listen, man, you've got everything you want, but do all of your employees, all of your customers and your family members, do they have everything that they want? And we reframed his why as to, I want to achieve my goals, to I want to have a bigger impact, and just reignited him like literally on one phone call. And it was a game changer coaching call for him. And now he's going to realize like, yeah, okay, great. I got this, check those boxes. Now it's on to bigger things. And Grant Cardone was talking to Alex Hormozy on a YouTube video recently. And Grant said, I quit the game. I quit the $4 billion game to enter the $50 billion game. And now I'm working harder than ever. And if you know anything about Grant Cardone, I mean, the guy's like close to 65 years old. And I went to one of his events and he spoke for 6 hours straight. And I didn't see him even take a drink of water. I was blown away because I've been to seminar upon seminar upon seminar with all the, quote unquote greats. And he compares to Tony Robbins. It's absolutely amazing because he has a huge why. Now, the other thing, the fifth and final common cause, but little known cause of burnout is toxic people and toxic places. And so if you're going to toxic places where people pour water on your flame, or you're hanging around those toxic people who are dousing your flame, that causes burnout. The candle goes out, the flame goes out, the oxygen is taken away. There's no more fuel in this fire when you hang around people who drag you down. And so if you're in those environments, just simply freeing yourself of those chains will give you the energy to come back and start doing more again. So the secret solutions of the 1%, the people who make a ton of money, who have a ton of time, who have time for their family, who are in great shape. Again, Grant Cardone checks all those boxes, and I like to think I check most of those boxes. Alex Hormozy checks those boxes. Bedros Keuilian checks those boxes. Vince Del Monte checks those boxes. Shanda Sumpter, Isabel Price, all the people that I know in my world all check these boxes. And what they do is they also have these 5 things. So first of all, they have boundaries that help them say no to what doesn't matter. So they're not chasing a million things on the treadmill. If you're chasing everything, you'll burn out. But if you have boundaries, and you build a fence around yourself that prevents you from distractions and prevents you from chasing shiny objects, then you will not burn out. The second thing that we want you to have here is an internal motivation, like your own why. If you're relying on YouTube videos, if you're relying on, podcasts, if you're relying on TD Jakes or Eric Thomas or any of these greats, these great speakers to motivate you, if you're relying on external motivation to help you through burnout, that's never going to make it. Instead, it's the internal motivation, your big why. It's like when you're running that marathon and you hit, the wall at mile 18 and you're running up, I forget what they call it, the hill in the Boston Marathon where it's like, it's Death Hill. Like most people give up on that hill. Like it's only an internal motivation that gets you through that. And so if you're relying on the people on the side of the road yelling and cheering to get you through that, that's not going to get you through it. It's got to come from your heart. So having that internal motivation, your big why, like I do everything for my family. I moved them here to Mexico for our freedom because we didn't like how we were being treated back home in Canada. I've built my business so I have more time with them. My office is right across from my daughter's bedroom. I can see her any time of the day. And I built a period of 6 hours that we spend just with her in my day. And I don't have a commute because now I have more time for my daughter and my wife and my pooch, Daisy the dog. And so I have used that big why to make big changes and really structure my life. And I still get up first thing in the morning to work because I love it and I love helping you. Third is planning. And you've heard me talk about the perfect week formula. If you don't have perfect week formula, go to craigballantyne.com/free books. No opt-in required, no money down, free plus shipping. No, it's just my ebooks and audiobooks for you for free. And it will show you the power of planning, the Sunday morning review, the Sunday planning, so that you plan your day better to get more done and you don't get burned out. When people don't have a plan, they fall apart. And if you think about everything you love in life, your favorite movie, your favorite play, your favorite football team, all of these people are following plans. They are not making it up as they go along. So there isn't wasted energy, which causes burnout. So making sure that you have better planning and preparation than ever before is exactly what will help you through the toughest times, whether you're in a fitness competition, in building a business, in getting your marriage back on track, whatever it is, better planning and preparation is absolutely essential. The fourth thing is that powerful vision, the vision that gives you the straight line to success, right? Straight line to success prevents you from going off on the detours that waste your energy. And when you just are on the straight line to success, you're not going to get burnt out because you see the finish line. You know exactly where you're going. It's your North Star. And I know I'm using a lot of cliches here, but trust me, the vision is what will make you do the work. When I hired my first business coach in 2006, the first question on the first call, he said, Craig, what do you want your business to look like? And I told him, I want to have a business like this website that's out there called Early to Rise by this great guy, Michael Masterson. And my coach said, great, Craig, well, you need to get better at speaking, writing, networking, coaching, and selling and copywriting. And I was like, okay. And I spent the next 5 years working a lot, working every single day nearly, in order to achieve that. And I then went and bought that business 5 years, 3 months and 17 days after that first coaching call, nearly to the day of my 5-year vision. And it's the same. I wrote in the Perfect Day Formula, I'm going to meet an amazing woman. And I met the amazing woman a year before the deadline. We got married, and now we have the family that I wrote about in that book, because the clear vision kept me on track and held me accountable, which leads me to the fifth thing, I didn't put it in there, is accountability. Accountability is the secret ingredient. That's why it's not in the presentation. But accountability is number 5. You need to have accountability. If you have public accountability and you state goals and people see you as a certain person and you have this self-identity, when you have that in place, you will not let other people down, and you will have the fuel to the fire that prevents the burnout. You will avoid those toxic places and people that pour water on you. You will avoid the negative self-talk that sucks the oxygen from your own fuel and fire. And when you have that accountability, that is the secret ingredient that would unlock you and prevent you from ever being burnt out. Grant Cardone makes those statements like, I'm going from 4 billion to 50 billion. He makes that in videos online in front of millions of people so that people will come up to him and say, how's it going? And you don't want to answer, I quit on that one. No, you don't want to be that hypocrite. So when you publicly state your goals, when you get a coach and a mentor who will hold you to that, who will check in on you, that's when the game changes, as it changed for me. Listen, we're happy to have our coaches jump on a call with you, a free coaching call, and give you the accountability, help you build out the plan, help you build out your vision, help you have your big why, and help you do some planning and preparation for the next 90 days. If you want to jump on a call with our team, go to craigballantyne.com/IG. Just fill out a few questions. Free coaching call. Free coaching call. We just want to help you. We want to help you implement what I teach in my books and my courses. And we want you to get to the next level. And if it's a good fit, then maybe you'll join one of our coaching programs and stay with us for the long term. We have clients that are going on 3, 4, 5 years and building from, low 6 figures up to 8 figures through the accountability. All right. So if you want to say goodbye to burnout and say hello to building a business that is going to give you the life of your dreams, then just jump on over to craigballantyne.com/IG, and we'll see you on the other side.